Software Oasis, the host of today's webinar. We'll begin our webinar in just a moment and wrap up promptly before 2 o'clock uh, today. And joining us, we have a great panel and lineup for today's webinar. First, we have joining us Pauline Redford Hayden. She's the head of marketing and operations over at Mailblaze. Next, we'll have
Thank you.
Deirdre Chen. She's the CEO and co-founder of Capshow. And finally, I will be speaking about the Yabasoft solution of interactive video at the end. So with that, I am going to hand the mic over to Pauline in just a moment. But if you're not already subscribed, or if you're watching through some other channels, be sure to go to softwareoasis.com/webinars to register for our upcoming webinars. During the webinar, each of the sponsors has graciously made a special offer available for all of the attendees of the webinar. So be sure to click on the link when we send that over. And we do have people joining us from all around the world today. So I'd like to welcome everyone and ask people to just for fun to type into the chat and let us know where you're joining from. I am actually joining, including the guests. I'm actually joining from just outside of Boston in Westboro, Massachusetts. So I'll just chat that in there. And like I said, we have people joining us from all around the world. So it's always a lot of fun to see where everyone is joining the webinar from. But during the webinar, I'm going to ask everyone to just set aside all your distractions for this hour to get the most out of the webinar. You're in for a real treat, and you'll hear from our panel of top experts in each of the areas. So with that, Pauline, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Michael. I'm going to share my screen and jump right in because I'm
Sure.
always worried I'm going to run out of time. So
No
thank you
worries.
so much for having me. I'm actually really excited to talk to you guys about the topic at hand. So, great. I think you can see my screen now. So today I'll be covering optimizing your email campaigns for better engagement. And I'm really actually super excited to be talking about this with everyone. It's something I'm really passionate about. But before we hop into that, let me just tell you a little bit more about myself and about Mailblaze. Um, as Michael mentioned, I'm the head of marketing and operations at Mailblaze. We are an email marketing platform, and our mission is really to empower our clients to send the best email campaigns they can, backed by our platform. We offer transactional sending as well as campaign sending, and our mission really is to support people to send better email. So, with that being said, that's why I'm quite excited to talk about engagement because that's a really big part when it comes to your email marketing campaigns. So, what really constitutes email engagement? It's really simply put just actions that are taken when an email is sent. So, when you send out your email campaign, an example of a engagement action would be when someone clicks on a link in that campaign or clicks through to a video or clicks on any button that you've added. Even an getting someone to open that email constitutes engagement. And when we talk around engagement, we really want to focus on some primary metrics like your open rate, unique open rate, your click through rate, and your click to open rate. And then, secondary to that, when we talk around engagement with our clients, we also look at your unsubscribe rate and your bounce rate because that's really going to give you the best way to measure engagement. So, why is this actually important? Like, why is email engagement really important? I guess at the end of the day, what we hear a lot of clients say is, isn't it all just really about the revenue that we're generating? So, yes, the revenue is important when it comes to your email marketing activities, but it's more than that because email is such a personal channel, right? So, looking at engagement is really crucial to kind of getting that success you're looking for in the email space. And why engagement specifically is important is it affects your deliverability. It can really help you actually keep your audience for a longer period of time and have less of a drop off in terms of like unsubscribe to your list. It can really help you craft better content for your audience, so guide the kind of content you create. And then of course it also helps you stay top of mind in your specific business area. So that's really why email engagement is crucial to email marketing success. So what I've done is I've just put together a few ideas around engagement just to kind of get the inspiration flowing and kind of just give you some of our best practices around how you can optimize your emails for better engagement. So the first thing is really to say that first impressions when it comes to email marketing really count. And there's two things that are important here, your welcome email and then also your subject line. So I've put together this example from Alex Catoni from the Copy Posse. And I just wanted to show you how, through a subject line, she's really created this want for me to open this email. You can see clearly who it's from. I've subscribed to her newsletter for many months. And that's really important when you're looking at your email engagement. When people can recognize who the email's from, they're much more likely to open it. So you'll see there the from name, the subject line. If I saw that pop up in my inbox, I'd really want to click that. I'm one of those people who can't stand notifications that pile up. So it would definitely give me a little bit of anxiety if I saw that. So that makes it quite a successful subject line in itself already. And then you'll see we've highlighted something called a pre-header. And a pre-header is a feature within Gmail where you can actually stretch your subject line. And there's only a set number of characters you can use that will capture an audience attention and also kind of keep you out of the spam organizations flaggings. So it just gives you another opportunity to really draw someone in. So in this example, it's this huge number of unread messages and saying don't let your inbox razzle you. And that really makes you want to actually open the email and learn more, especially if you feel into this feeling of anxiety around unread messages. I mentioned welcome emails as well. It's really important when you are growing your email list to kind of set the scene around what you're going to be sharing when you're sending out your campaign. So we always recommend creating a welcome email and just reaffirming kind of what you've already said the subscriber is going to receive at that point of sign up. So I put together like my top tips for subject lines. It's really straightforward and it's good to experiment with what works for your audience. We always say as well, you as a business know your clients best. So of course we give advice. But at the end of the day, you know their specific needs and why your business exists, what your purpose is. So for subject lines, we want to make sure when we're creating a campaign, we are concise and clear. So don't make it overly long. We want to create that sense of urgency. So if there's a time-bound promotion, for example, it's important to include that in the subject line. We find questions are quite successful when it comes to getting people to open, especially if that's something they probably have wondered themselves, using numbers and lists. So there's actually a lot of stats in the email industry that show that including numbers within your subject line helps. And the same can actually be said for like long form copy like blogs, listicles, how to's. you can really incorporate that into your subject line successfully, and you will most likely see an uptick in your open rates. Just to share a little bit of stats around that, like email subject lines with numbers in them tend to have almost 57% higher open rates. And that's a stat from a company called Zapier. So it's a really simple thing to test, maybe even an easy thing for your next campaign. Then subject line that invoke some sort of emotion do really well. We talk a lot in our business around that people connect to other people, and we find that using some sort of emotion really helps you connect with that person on the other end of the inbox. So we recommend doing that in your subject lines. Highlight any benefits of your campaign upfront in the subject line. Add any personalization. It could be as simple as adding in their name in the subject line, but it could also be something where you capitalize on something that's location based, perhaps. For example, right now where I'm at, there is quite heavy weather and storms. So if I received an email from someone sort of telling me something that could help me with this hectic wind, and or even something related maybe to road safety, there would be value in it for me to read more about that. Creating mystery, I see brands really do this very successfully when it comes to launches, or even just restocking products even. That really does well for subject lines. Power words, what we kind of look at here in terms of power words is action words really. So asking them upfront, sort of to complete the action that you're going to talk more about in the actual campaign works well. And then tailor your subject line to your audience. I guess I've touched a little bit on that in terms of personalization, but not treating everyone the same. I think that's really, really important when it comes to your subject line. I put another example in here. I want to say big thanks to my Women in Email group I'm part of. Someone actually shared this recently in this group, and I thought it was a nice way to really create engagement, as everyone kind of has seen this sort of message pop up even on their phone that says someone's typing. So I thought that was quite a clever way to get people to engage. So you'd automatically want to open the email to kind of read more. When it comes to engagement, the other thing you want to do is really create interest and get people invested. So it may sound very simple, but here's a great example of Scott's Cheap Flights, where they're talking about getting the most from your memberships. And what they've asked their audience to do here is update their preferences. So often, what happens is things change within a subscriber's life, and they don't necessarily always update, where they're staying. Maybe even they don't update their most active email address. So you really want to create these little moments within your campaigns where you give people an opportunity to actually connect. So in this case, what they were asking people to do was actually click on a button and go and set their details. This is quite crucial because sometimes even within my own marketing, you kind of get distracted by promotions, campaigns, features, and you don't always take that moment to just give pause to sort of actively ask someone to get the most out of what you're selling. So really, yes, about creating that interest and getting people invested because you're creating value for them. Here's another great example that I found from a brand called South Dakota. And what they did is they just really seamlessly integrated this idea of getting people to click. And you'll see here it says we belong together. Click below to cast your vote. And sorry, it's a obviously with email because you can scroll. It's a longer screen, so I just thought we'll put it up for you. But essentially, where you see here, click below to cast your vote, you can actually click through to different articles about different things, but they made it fun and engaging by saying whichever you choose is kind of like a vote. And I thought that was a really clever way to get your content across and your messaging across and keep people interested and invested. So it doesn't have to be overly complicated. This is just a nice, fun example. Another way to get people involved is to actually ask them what they think. So this is an example from a brand called Tech Safari in Africa. And they actually have this at the bottom of their email campaigns where they just ask someone simply, what did you think of today's edition? There's another, we actually do this ourselves in our newsletter we send. We ask people for feedback on how useful was this newsletter. And we just go the extra step by actually then obviously showing them how they can also incorporate that into their campaigns by saying, do you want to learn how we made this in email survey? And they can click. And that gives us another opportunity to get those engagement signals going because we're proactively asking them for feedback. This is an email from Harry Dry. Awesome email newsletter to follow. I would highly recommend. It's called Harry Dry 321. And he does a really good job of incorporating a lot of different ways to get those engagement signals going. So it's a very simple newsletter, but very informative. But you'll see he has a section here about Song of the Week, which you can click through to. You can rate the email superb, solid, or subpar. You can forward it to a friend. You can also just reply back to him. And I think what makes this really successful is he's created quite a few opportunities to kind of get that engagement going. What you want is you want people to click, you want people to open because it really sends positive signals back to the inbox clients like Google and Yahoo and all the other inbox providers that people are really also enjoying what you're sending them. So that's why these things are so crucial. So, yeah, in summary, I think it's really just important to think about first impressions and that they really do count. Look at those subject lines. I always recommend to my team that they even start with the subject line before they start the campaign. Try and create interest and get people invested in what it is you're sending, and actually proactively ask people to get involved. So don't wait for the interaction. Ask them to get involved in your email marketing activity. And that's basically it from my side.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, that presentation. So for anyone that's looking to take Mailblaze for a spin, in the chat we've included a link for a free trial offer. And Pauline, can you tell us how that free trial works?
Yes. So we have a 14-day free trial that you can use all of our features. Don't hide any features within our free trial. You'll be able to upload 1,000. Sorry, you'll be able to upload 500 of your subscribers and send two campaign within that 2 week window. And we don't do any long-term contracts, so you can work with us on a month-to-month basis if you like the product, and we offer full support on all our plans. No, we don't have any different tiers for platform features either, so you're welcome to try it out. You'll have access to everything we offer and reach out to the team anytime. They love helping and answering questions.
Okay, great. And for anyone watching the replay or watching on another channel, at the top we're going to leave a clickable button where you can click to take advantage of that offer that we're talking about on the webinar. So that'll be with our Yabasoft interactive technology. So next, coming up, Deirdre Chen is actually going to be speaking to us about CapShell. So I'm going to hand the mic over and let you give our
Go for
guests
it.
an update. Yeah, go for it. So,
Yeah, thanks, Michael. And thanks, Pauline. I was taking notes myself because I'm like, we're huge emailers. So that's was super helpful. Thank you for that. So a little bit about Capsho, and then I'll go into sort of almost the strategy that sits behind it because I want to make this super educational and super valuable. I don't have any slides prepared. So if you're, wanting to take lots of notes, and definitely get a pen and paper because I'm going to be sharing literally the social media strategy that will not only get you engagement from the right people, but will also grow your email list, which will then get into, some of the stuff that Pauline was talking about, as well as grow your followers on social media. So really, really cool stuff. Just really quickly, what Capsho is it is an AI powered software. It's literally the fastest way to repurpose your expert audio and video content into other content that gets you clients. That's the whole big thing. It's like we don't believe in, the content vomit that can happen with AI. It is very much about how do we create intentional, strategic content that gets results, and what that might look like. So, by way of background, I have been in entrepreneurship for about 10 years. Before that, I was in corporate. So I was in banking in Australia. I don't sound Texan, do I? I do. I grew up in Australia and now live over here in the States. But yeah, basically, I've straddled the whole, like, I know what corporate's like and I know what entrepreneurship's like. And literally, this strategy, regardless of the business that you're in, whether you are in corporate, you're a marketing manager, or whether you are an entrepreneur yourself, this strategy works. And I'll explain how. So basically, we call it the 4-post social media strategy. And how I kind of stumbled upon it was about 3 years ago, and Michael knows this story because I was telling him about it on a podcast episode. I started a coaching business. And it was to help e-commerce business owners with their digital marketing. And it was at that time that I started my podcast, my first podcast as well. And I thought that just the act of creating content was that was marketing, right? I was like, yes, I've recorded a podcast episode. I've hit publish. It's live now. People can find it on Spotify or Apple iTunes. And I was like, that's my marketing done. What I didn't realize at the time is that is actually not the truth, because all marketing, and a good friend told me this, Louise from the Biz Bros, he was like, every hour that you put into creating content, you need to put that out at like the same time into marketing it. And that is so true. And I was like, so at the time I really struggled with I'm creating content. Surely it should just get found. Like what do I need to get this thing, to have this thing be found by people and actually get engagement or listeners or followers or whatever it is. And I went kind of into a bit of a rabbit hole. I'm going to be honest. I had my team. Basically, we were on all of the social media platforms. Like we were on TikTok and we were on X and we were on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And literally, it was like wherever all of the gurus like Gary Vee and etc. told us to be, we were on there. And we went a little bit, I'm going to say, insane. And that was totally my fault because I was like, okay, well, we're going to post every single day on all these platforms, and then we're going to track the data, and then we're going to, and I literally burned my team out. It was a terrible, terrible time, terrible experience. And so I was like, okay. And then I went the total other way because I was like, I burnt out, my team burnt out. I was like, okay, you know what? We're just going to get off social media. It's not working. It's like, so I just went like totally blank on social media. And then I came across this book called Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley, and he talks about the 7-hour rule. And he basically, in short, it's like your audience or the people that you want to become clients, the people that you want paying you for whatever it is that you do, need to spend at least 7 hours with you just before they become those raving fans. And that's a general rule. There's always law of averages, right? Because there are some people who are just like, will just emotionally buy on the spot. There are some people who will take way longer than 7 hours, but by and large, on average, it takes about 7 hours. So given that, I was like, okay, well, really, I just have to be a lot more strategic about this. How do I just get people to hang out with me, whether that's on social media, on my podcast, or on YouTube, for 7 hours so that they come to know, like, and trust me? I still didn't really have any idea. And I came across someone who's become a really, really good friend of mine now. Her name is Katie Brinkley from Next Step Social Communications, and she has been in social media for literally over 10 years, since the MySpace time. And she actually showed me what she calls a 4-post social media strategy. And first I was skeptical. I was like, no way, like 4 posts, it's too simple. And she's like, no, seriously. And she walked me through it. She walked me through how she does it. And then I started doing it. And I can tell you that if you are looking for a few things, so one is engagement on social media, and not just engagement for engagement's sake, but engagement from the right people, the people that you actually want to buy from you eventually. This is what this strategy will get you. So engagement from the right people, opt-ins to your email list, or opt-ins to, for me, it's an email list because everything falls off the back of that, whether I'm running workshops or webinars or challenges, or like everything comes from my email list, as well as growing your followers on social media. So this strategy hits all those. I'll explain to you how. So going to the 4 post, post number 1, and so this is probably where you might want to start writing down if you're taking notes. Post number 1 is what we call the awareness post. And this is literally like the post that you get people to raise their hands. And this is where you know that you have the right people then in your audience, in your community. So what this looks like is whatever the topic is that you're talking about that this week. So, Pauline, for example, I'll just use you as an example based on what you're talking. It might be like top tips for subject lines, right? That's kind of the thing that you want to drive people. You want to drive people maybe to a webinar or to a podcast episode or something that you've done that will go into what these top tips are. That first awareness post is literally, if it's on Facebook, it would just be, say, an unpopular opinion, to be like, maybe it's just a 1 sentence. It could be something like subject lines on emails don't matter. Agree or disagree, right? And you literally then will have people go, no way, subject lines are the number 1 most important thing, or I totally agree with that. Subject lines don't matter. It's X, Y, Z. So you literally have people who will start engaging with you on kind of controversial, like you've just made it a little bit controversial, right? Topic, but they care. You know now that these are the people who care about this topic because they've actually started giving you their thoughts. So that's that's an example of an awareness post. On Facebook, unpopular opinions work really, really well. On LinkedIn, polls work really well. On Instagram, doing it via Reels. Now that Instagram also have polls, you can also do a poll for that awareness post. It works really, really well. Okay, that's the first post. Post number 2 is what then Katie calls the elaboration post. And this is where you now give value. So you know that people who have started engaging with you on the awareness post care about the topic, which means that with the algorithms at play, your next post is going to show for them because they've engaged with you, right? Like that's just how the social media platforms work. So when you give value and you now go into why is it that subject lines are that important or not important, whatever your perspective is, and you share maybe here are 3 of the top, my top tips that will move the needle for you on your subject lines. Like you share that in a post. And then you actually get people to and again, you leave it with a call to action around more of a conversation opener, right? Like what are your top tips when you create subject lines, or what do you think? Something that actually, again, gets people engaging. The third post then is what we call the community post. And for a lot of businesses, this could be very well just be like social proof or case studies. For people who are more like solopreneurs, community posts that work really well is more when they share an insight into their life. So, if it's around subject lines, it could be a story about how going for a walk and seeing, I don't know, a random, something really gruesome came to mind because literally yesterday I went on a walk and I saw unfortunately a possum on the side of the road, and I think it's because he had electrocuted himself on the electricity poles. But that's a gruesome example, and that only came to mind because literally it's like top of mind for me right now. You could be like, I came across this, and that's how I came up with this subject line that worked really well. So it's kind of like a way to give people an insight into, your life or what it is that you do, or your clients, or case studies. Anything that brings a community around this topic that you're talking about. And then the fourth post is the action post, which is like, hey, you guys have been following me throughout this week going into this particular topic. Why don't you just, I'm about to do a webinar where I actually share 10 of my tips to really get to create high engaging subject lines. Like just come to that, right? Super. But you know now that people have been engaging with you throughout the week care about this topic. So you've got engagement with the right people. You're getting them to opt in for something, i.e. growing your list. And you are getting more of the right followers because with these people actually engaging with you, especially, you see on LinkedIn, for example, I don't know about you, I always get posts to be like, I'm a second connection. And it's like my connection engaged on this particular post. Hey, that might be of interest, right? This is how the algorithms work. So the more engagement that you can get on social media, which this strategy actually gives you, the more actions and the more conversions that you can actually get off the back of that, which is the really, really cool part. So I'm going to dive into the reason why I love talking about this strategy and sharing about this strategy is because Capsho actually does the heavy lifting for you around creating each of those posts. And how it works is that if you are an expert or you're creating any kind of like long form audio or video content, long form being anything 10 minutes, I would say, or even 5 minutes and above, then Capsho works beautifully in terms of you just upload your audio video file and literally in under 10 minutes, it will create these 4 posts for you across different platforms like Facebook, like LinkedIn. So, when we talk about that unpopular opinion post as the awareness post example, Capsho actually gives you like 3 options to be like, here are some things based on what you spoke about. You could just use this. And so it actually does all of the heavy lifting for you. And the great thing is because the reason why we designed it this way around it anchoring in your own content is because I think we all know with the hype of AI and, it's super easy to create content. So I don't want to dispute that. Really, really easy. The thing is that when we then talk about our experiences in our stories, like we make it really personal, like AI for AI like doesn't do that for you. Like it doesn't actually lean on that, right? It just goes out to the internet, all of the information that's out there and pulls that back rather than, hey, let's actually anchor all of these 4 posts that we've spoken about in your content, in your stories, in your experiences, in your expertise, in the things that you talk about and know about. And that's how Capsho actually does it. So it's AI powered, but it's really anchored in you and your content. So that's kind of like, any questions on that, Michael, on that strategy?
I know we did record a podcast session a few days ago that goes into greater depth on that strategy, and we'll make that available to everybody. It's actually going live the first of next week. So check back to softwareoasis.com/podcasts, and you'll be able to see that episode live. But I think that really, really helps fill in some of the details. Can you talk a little bit about the Capsho offer?
Yes.
I know there were a limited number of spaces available for the club.
Yes, for sure. So we've been busy rebuilding Capsho from the ground up. So we launched Capsho more than over 18 months ago. And I think anyone who's in the software business knows that there comes a time when, things like dirty code, like, we ran pretty fast in those 18 months. And so we actually had to step back, take a deep breath and rebuild. And so Capsho Club is literally why we called it a founding member offer, is because this is now the next iteration of Capsho that we are releasing. And as part of that, we are actually offering the strategy. So everything I spoke about plus more, because I only spoke about social media, but there's also like a whole strategy to do around like YouTube and email, like all these other things. So we will share the strategy. You'll obviously get access to the software as well as support from us around how to actually implement the strategy super quickly, super efficiently using Capsho. And so we're opening up Capsho Club literally in the next week or so. And so founding member offer is that this Capsho Club is going to become $497 a month. But for the first 100 people, we're going to do it at $99 a month. And that's grandfathered in. So yeah, if you want to get in on the link that Michael's just shared, because it's going to give you everything to create content that will actually get you clients.
And I know that is truly an amazing offer. And I think if you could share a story, I think when we spoke, you had mentioned one podcaster in specific
Yes.
that had an amazing result using the
Yeah.
solution. Maybe that would be helpful.
Yes, for sure. Michael's referring to Sandy Scalata. So I mentioned her on the podcast as well. And she went from so she was doing about 1,000 downloads a month. So she's a podcaster. Her whole aim was to basically get her download numbers up. That was it. And so she used the 4-post social media strategy just to basically, the action was always like, listen to the podcast episode, so that was really her action and her main aim. And so she used Capsho, just implemented this strategy week in and week out. She went from 1,000 downloads a month to, within 4 months, to 48,000 downloads a month. I actually shared her story on LinkedIn, and she commented on it to say, actually, Deidre, we're now at 125,000 downloads a month. And so it's just been incredible. This strategy actually, it works. It works.
Yeah, and I think that shows you, a very real example of how the solution works. And I think, everyone is, focused on so many things, and especially if you're handling marketing for a large organization and you're being pulled in many directions, having tools like this to be able to take some of the heavy lifting and, some of the details off of your plate to automate some of that, but still, create using authentic content that is delivering content at the end of the day that'll rise to the top of the rankings, because it is just that. It's unique, it's authentic, and it's not just regurgitating what's already out there on the internet.
Yes.
So that is super helpful. So that offer I put in the we'll actually put it in a link above the video for anybody watching the replay, and in the chat for anybody that's on the live session. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, and
Yeah, you're welcome.
really appreciate that. Next up is myself. I'm actually going to give everyone an in-depth look at our Yabasoft interactive video, which is a great way of future proofing your media and your content. So I am actually going to play a quick presentation here. Solution that we actually developed here internally, and talk about the power of interactive video. The solution that we developed is called Yabasoft Interactive Videos. And the reason that we developed this solution was to be able to add interactivity to the videos that people are watching on our website. So many companies have videos on YouTube, Vimeo, AWS, all the different platforms. And one of the downsides to all of these platforms is you're not able to easily add different interactive elements into the videos, like shoppable links, lead capture forms, quizzes, appointment booking, etc. So what we did was we actually developed an internal technology to add these elements to our videos, and that's a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today. So just to give everyone an overview, first I'm going to provide a little bit of an introduction to interactive video, and then I'll get into some of these other areas that you see up here on the screen, and what you need to know to get started with interactive video. So obviously the video segment is growing at a pretty quick clip, as we've heard on today's webinar. So a lot of companies, whether you have a product or a service offering, are just getting to the point where they're getting a lot of videos and all of that live, and it's a great experience for their customers. Interactive video allows you to up it one notch and really help your visitors to engage with the content that you're putting out. So as you've heard, on this webinar, obviously you can go from the ability to create videos with AI like you can with Pictory, all the way up to the other end of the range where you're actually having professionally produced content, as you've heard from Doug over at Edit Point Video, and a lot of the in between. But at the end of the day, the final product is the video that you're producing. So with interactive video, some of the best use cases are, boosting engagement. So obviously, at the end of the day, everyone is looking to have their customers interact with their videos, increasing conversions, collecting data. So, for example, we have an SEO client that uses interactive video on their website for booking appointments, and they're actually able to book appointments at the peak of their customers' interest when they're watching the video and they're ready to schedule a call. You can also personalize experiences within the videos, and this is very interesting because at a high level, being able to personalize anything is going to increase your conversions on your website. But personalizing a video is unique in that it allows some different capabilities. So let me give an example. One of the companies using the Yabasoft interactive video is able to use the solution to actually guide the journey of their customers in the sign up process on their website. So what they'll do is they'll actually segment the customers into different groups, or actually the customers segment themselves by choosing or answering questions along the way. They're able to customize the journey of content that they see within the video. So by answering certain questions, it'll either point them to a different segment within the video or an altogether different video on the platform itself. And finally, the last area would be for brand awareness. So a lot of companies want the ability to add an interactive element to the video so that individuals watching the video can interact with their brand. What's interesting to me is a recent study that was actually done, which showed the impact of interactive video on the whole sales process and purchasing cycle. As you can see here, 25% of the individuals that started the process of watching a video, it actually increased the conversion rate by 25% for that group that watched the interactive video versus a non-interactive video. And the results were 18% more leads produced from the same group of customers and 14% more sales generated. And for anyone that is using paid advertising for generating traffic to their website or videos, using a solution like this allows for a much better conversion rate. And as we all know, with the ever increasing cost of paid advertising, any little bit of additional conversion that can be attained from that same funnel of traffic shows huge impacts to the bottom line of any campaign. And a lot of companies that are running paid advertising campaigns are the ones seeing the best success with our platform. This study was actually very interesting. We're all familiar with BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed actually has a tremendous volume of traffic to their website. Here you can see in this survey, it was during a time where they had just about 96 million visits to the BuzzFeed website. And this was actually a study that was sourced from SimilarWeb in terms of the stats. But what's interesting here is you can see that in the study, the number one keyword to their website which produced traffic was obviously the name BuzzFeed. But if you look at the couple of segments related to quizzes, you can see that nearly 20% of the visitors that came to the BuzzFeed website were typing in quiz-related terms. So this is a huge opportunity to add interactivity or quizzes right within the videos to provide the type of content that BuzzFeed visitors are actually looking for. Other features like shoppable links, lead forms, calls to actions, data collection can all be embedded right within the videos as well. So it's a very exciting opportunity. Now, one of the biggest benefits to interactive video is the ability to increase conversions and engagement. And as you can see with this chart here, we're able to see that the level of engagement boosts, increased engagement, and resulting higher completion rates are all quite positive. And clearly, as you see from the green dollar sign up there at the right, all add to the ability for companies to see an increased result to their bottom line. So adding interactive video at the end of the day increases conversions, increases engagement, and the resulting bottom line. Now, interactive video does increase conversions, but what are some of the stats related to this? So as we can see here from a couple of recent studies, 84% of consumers purchased a product after watching a marketing video for it that included interactive capabilities. So that is a tremendous percentage right there. And interactive video does allow calls to action and other purchase elements to be embedded right in the video. And we can see that visitors that are coming to your website that are engaging with your content are actually pushed further down the marketing funnel, closer to that conversion or purchase element within the funnel by adding the interactivity. Now, one of the interesting things, I just want to show an example here. If you look up at the top left and bottom right of the screen, here's an example of Yabasoft interactive video that includes both a link to the product page at the top left, right within the video while the person is watching the video, as well as the ability to book a test drive right within the video. So you can see how, with a product such as an automobile, the ability to book just a few more conversions can have a huge impact to an auto dealership's bottom line. So that's one reason that many companies are taking a lot of the existing video content that they have and adding interactivity to it. So one of the things that we were looking to do with the Yabasoft platform was make the solution easy for people to use and easy for organizations to use by allowing the videos to stay wherever they are. So you can leave your videos on YouTube, on AWS, on any of the Vimeo, any of the other platforms, or you can import them directly into the Yabasoft platform and add the interactivity to those videos. So you're still able to, generate your shares and your likes and your comments and all of that on the native platforms, but you can also add the functionality that'll help boost bottom line profits and conversions. And with the capabilities, you can also add some pretty exciting features. Shoppable videos and that essentially means that you can add shoppable elements right within the video. For example, a fruit and nut company could right within the video, while they're showing new offerings for candies or fruits or nuts, they can actually show a modal or a display right within the video that has links so that customers can actually purchase the items directly from the video on the website. Another capability that we touched on earlier was the conditional logic or personalization. So within those same videos, you can actually have guided journeys for your customers where you're actually helping them to get to the segment of the video that they're looking to interact with quickly. And by doing that, you can actually, better service their intent of the search and get them to where they're looking to get to quicker, which will obviously lower your bounce rate on your website and increase your conversions and make Google happy as well. So the last detail is a video sales page or playlist. So those are two different elements. You can add playlists like we're all familiar with to allow your customers to interact with other content that might be related that they're interested in. But a video sales page actually allows you to create a standalone landing page where you can actually add, like a header and a bit of copy and text and some bullet points, as well as the video, so that you can create a very interactive one-off page to quickly launch a campaign without having to, get involved with a tech department or other departments within your organization to actually get a landing page live. So that's a nice feature that we built into the solution. And analytics are obviously very important for any marketing campaign or any organization to be able to understand how making some of these changes is, impacting your conversion and click-through rates and engagement rates. So all of that is built right into the Yabasoft interactive video platform. You can also integrate data from different solutions that you may be using. So many companies might be using MailChimp or Aweber or ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign or other solutions like that for CRM and marketing automation. All of those integrations are built right into the platform, as well as the ability to add in, tracking through Google Analytics and other platforms that are popular for tracking. And for any of the solutions that are not natively integrated within Yabasoft Interactive, there are also third-party, hooks. So, for example, you could use different things like Make or Zapier or any of the other automation platforms to add in literally thousands of different solutions. But all of the big ones that you would expect are already incorporated into the solution. So I really want to thank everybody for their time today. Interactive video clearly is the future of video marketing from where we sit. We've been using it since we developed the platform and have found that it adds quite a bit to a great user experience and to our bottom line. So you can differentiate your brand and boost your ROI with this Yabasoft solution. And for anybody that's on the webinar today, feel free. You can schedule a demo at the interactive link above and transform your existing videos with interactivity today. Okay, great. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the panel today. I think that was a really great look at the future of media and connecting and engaging with your audience. Coming up next Wednesday at 1, our next webinar is on the future workforce, teaching students the skills to succeed. So that is our next webinar, and we have a a great lineup for that webinar as well. If you're on the live stream or anywhere other than coming to the webinar from our email list, just go to softwareoasis.com/webinars to register for that. And I've included all of the links in the video as well as in the chat for anybody that is on the live session today.
Thank you so much to both of you as well. It was really informative. So I learned a few new tricks. So I'll definitely be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.